It's Saturday and today I'm off on a road trip up to Derbyshire to see my friends for a bit of a cocktail party. I don't get to see them very often, so this is really quite an important trip for me. Although it's probably going to cost me at least upwards of 60 quid, it's kind of worth it for this lot, even if it is only for the one night. On the other hand, this is a pain in the arse. This is the A14. Earlier on I passed a car for a driving school called the Toad Driving School. Now, it may just be my literary mind, but I can only think of one famous driving frog, Toad, whatever. You wouldn't want him teaching you to drive. Apparently, the new Shore deodorant is designed for use by women. All the papers are going, oh, there's a financial crisis. How dare David Cameron go on holiday? He must come back immediately. And, oh my, there's riots in Tottenham. The head of the Metropolitan Police must come back immediately. And I totally disagree. Because if you've not got a management team that can run things whilst you're away on holiday, you're doing it wrong. If they have to come back to deal with this stuff, then I'm worried. This is all very well, Socks, but in a moment a customer's going to come in and I'm going to have to get up and then I'm going to need my leg back. They're saying these riots were caused by the shooting of a man by police, an armed man, I might add. But that's too small a thing. I mean, yeah, it's a life, but that's too small a thing. When you get something like this, it's something far deeper and far bigger, but no one's going to try and pin it down, not anyone in the government, because then they'll have to admit they've got a bigger, deeper problem. It means people have lost hope. And guess who's come back early from his holidays? Looks like my entire life is falling apart at the moment. Appears that the kettle has just died and possibly taken a socket with it, although if we're lucky it's just tripped the fuse. Certainly the compressor doesn't work in that socket. When I took it over to there, it did work. So I'm having to make my tea using a pan on the stove. Once I've had my first cup of tea, then I might be able to deal with all this. With these riots, the problem seems to be on a manpower for the police. And you can't have a force big enough to handle such large-scale disorders there all the time, I don't think. Or at least it seems very difficult to do so. So, one possible solution could be the one that the army use. The army have a standing army, and then they have the territorial army for when the shit actually goes down. And the police could do the same, a territorial police force, as it were. Specifically trained up and qualified to deal with civil disorder situations.
So to Bury to buy myself a kettle. Unfortunately, the one I really wanted turned out to be 50 quid, even in the middle of a sale. And this beautiful pair, they were £70 each. So, what with there not being a riot on that day, they were a little out of my reach. So instead...
There you go, we have a new kettle. And what I really like about it is it's low and flat and wide. So although it's got the same capacity as the old kettle, I can fit it under the tap without the bottom getting in the water in the sink. And I've just heard reports that police have raided a folk club in South London after reports of looting.
Car was set on fire, and you actually see quite a thick black plume of smoke going up across the city behind the rotunda area, for those who know Birmingham. And from what we hear, that the police have certainly...
Just for the pleasure of delivering a hearty headbutt to so many pathetic excuses, let me just remind you that as far as rioting goes, it is possible for rioters to have personal responsibility and society to have responsibility, and for neither responsibility to diminish the other's responsibility in any way.
Okay, we're back to doing some more artwork. Can you tell what it is yet? No, because I haven't really started. Now, I was going to be getting back to doing some of this, but having had my niece's birthday come up, my sister's birthday is now coming up, and since it would be really creepy to do mother and daughter matching t-shirts, I'm not going to be doing my sister t-shirts. Not this time. Fun as that might be, we're actually going to try for a canvas. Now, I know this was going to be my first canvas. This will be now. Okay, and the picture we're going to base it on there, that's the concept we're using. In fact, it's one that if I can get it to work, I'll probably do a few more of, because these little canvases, they're quite cheap. I can run off a load, and then it's several hand painted pictures, which is always nice. And of course they'll all be slightly different, so lots of individual pieces of art. Check on my website to see if you want to own one, I guess. By the time this is out, we'll see. I don't know. Anyway, this will, however, be the prototype. Already started sketching out for the full size one. The square there is about the same size as this little canvas, and you can see the toilet roll and spider already there. I've got to get that finished. Okay, we've got the picture finished, ready to work on. There we go. Spider is watching you pee. Still don't know if I use the words or not. Probably not my sister's one, but it's there for future reference. I'm going to make the stencil using the bottom of the picture as a sort of reference point to line up the stencil against. There's a point to this, which is that if I can rest it on the bottom of the easel, I'll get it in the right sort of place. Now, also putting a line along the top here so that I can cut out the top edge, and I'm writing the word tube on here in Sharpie. Firstly, so that I know what it is, which I probably would anyway, but also this tells me which way up it goes, which is important and harder to tell. Knife. I had a knife. There's my knife. Now for the bit where I start regretting getting a black chopping board. Ruler. There we go. Got home from gardening. Mum pretty much immediately called up the stairs to ask could I play the organ for her. I said I'd need to go to the toilet first. She said, don't worry, it's not till Sunday. There's a christening on, and the mother wants a hymn played. Now, I'm not an organist. I've never played the church organ. Even when I play my synthesizer, which I haven't really done in over a year, I've normally got it set on keyboard mode, on piano mode. So, organ stuff, no experience of really. More than my mum's had recently, despite the fact she's got an organ in her house. She doesn't ever use it. Anyway, Mum, apparently this mother asked my mum if they could have All Things Bright and Beautiful, which, you know, I can hear that on a church organ, sort of, yeah. Mum talked her out of it, because Mum doesn't like All Things Bright and Beautiful. Talked her around to Morning Has Broken, which I don't see as a church organ piece at all. I cannot get it in my head that way. It's guitar. It can be piano. I can hear that groove working. Church organ. And yes, I do find it amusing that in a ceremony that's basically about solemnly promising to bring a child up in the ways of Christianity, they choose a hymn by a bloke who eventually skipped over to Islam. What's him then? It's a simple thought, really. Don't go believing you know it all, because the one thing I learn every year is what I didn't know the year before.